when you struggle to make profit in trading and keep repeating the same mistakes, it is very easy to question yourself and your future as a trader. And over time, many traders start losing confidence in themselves and wonder whether they will ever be able to realize their dream. So today I invited Rob to share his trading journey with you because he just went through an incredible transformation that I'm sure will inspire many of you. And if you are doubting your future as a trader, this might be just what you need right now. Hey guys, my name is Agnieszka Wood and I'm a mindset coach, the founder of A Head Coach and my signature mindset transformation program, The Confident Trader. I help traders who are struggling to follow their trading plan and let emotions make their trading decisions to get out of the failing cycle, stop losing their gains, and build consistency so they can become profitable and create the life they desire. Let me bring in Rob. Hi Rob, how are you today?
Hi, Agnieszka. I'm good. How are you? How was your day?
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us. I am really honored to have you here. It's a very special day for you, right? Do you wanna tell everyone why is it such a special day today? Putting you on the spot here.
Sure. Well, for starters, let me say thank you for having me. It's actually more of an honor for me to be here and have this conversation with you on my birthday. So I feel like it was a nice little tie-in to completing the program pretty much on the week where I am half a century old or half a century young. But either
Where
way,
you're
I just
starting a
felt
new phase in your life,
yes,
basically, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel like it was just meant to be, so to speak. Like it was a great fresh start and I'm really excited about this. So
That's
thank you.
awesome. Would you like to tell us a little bit about when and how your trading journey started? Like, was it even your intention to trade for a living just right from the start?
Sure. My interest in finance started when I was about 35 or so. My sister got into finance and she did really well and she loved it. And ever since then, I always wanted to know about finance. And it just happened that in one of my jobs, I was working at Goldman Sachs. And I had I wouldn't say a firsthand view into what they did, but I did know what Goldman Sachs was about. And I really want to get that brought out and more in me to get involved in finance. So at the time, there weren't any tools on how to learn to trade. So when that started coming available back in, at least when I was aware of it, it was around 2010. I kind of started piquing my interest into it, but I didn't really do anything about it. I had opened up a brokerage account and bought some McDonald's and Coca-Cola and left it in there without even knowing what I was doing. I just thought, okay, that looks good.
You
But
just
anyway,
like the company or the food?
yeah, exactly. So it was actually more I liked the food. Fast forward a couple of years later from that time frame, I decided that I was going to learn how to be a trader because I wanted to get my foot in finance. I started reading about it, and it went as far as when I would go into my job, I would buy the New York Times and look at the the stock
the, the
the
quotes.
stock market area, pretending like I knew what I was doing, which I really didn't. But anyway, I finally had found a an organization that taught you how to trade. I went through about a year of learning how to use it, how to trade, and I had all these notes and binders, but I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, and I got overwhelmed. So I didn't take it too serious, and my wife and I proceeded to start our dog walking business. And throughout the years of doing that, I was on and off because I just didn't understand what I was doing. So my desire was still there, but I've never been one to ask questions. When I would partake in the classes, I would just agree with like, yeah, okay, got it, sure. And then I went from that organization to another one and another one and another one. Long story short, I paid for all this education, but I still didn't know what I was doing. So finally, I came across one organization. I did the boot camps. I did everything. I took it more serious. And by this time, the dog walking and dog boarding business that my wife had kind of expanded. So thankfully, fortunately, I didn't have to worry about source of income.
Which is a
And
great advantage, right? When you're trading, that you don't have to
exactly,
make money, right? Created pressure.
exactly. That pressure wasn't there to learn, which honestly, I think that was also a subconsciously a reason for me not to push forward with my trading. But when I finally decided that I wanted to move on and it was time to take this serious and make it happen, I took these boot camps. I thought I understood it very well. We were in a bull market, so I practiced consistently for a year. I was doing
That's
pretty good.
consistency, right? Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and I was really happy about it, and I was really proud of myself for finally putting my both feet in and making this happen. So I went live in August of 2019, and like I said, we were in a bull market, and I entered, I made money, and it was a rinse and repeat, and I was feeling really good about myself. I was up 50% on my account, and I was like, oh, I got this. Then 2020 came, COVID came. One thing that I didn't know how to do was navigate a financial crisis or a global crisis.
A
I had no
different
ideas.
market, definitely different
Yeah,
market, right? And not
yeah, it was
not something, not the market where you throw something against the wall and it sticks.
exactly. And from that moment on, the my account just started dwindling and dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And I kept trying something else, and I tried another organization, and I didn't get it. So I spent all of 2020, or at least the first 6 to 8 months, where I just couldn't get it. But I was still with the amount that I began with.
What
So
was your biggest challenge at that point?
at that time, it was just not knowing how to navigate the market.
Okay.
Because I honestly thought that I had an idea of what I was doing. But as 2020 was starting to come to an end and we were going into 2021, what went from being not knowing how to navigate the market became a big psychological hit on me. Like at that point, at the beginning of 2021, again, I didn't know how to cycle through a market, so the market kind of started going back up. But I wasn't sure if it was going to go back up or continue down or go lower, and I couldn't tell. And I got overwhelmed, and these strategies that I thought I knew, that I was so proud of because I had done well in 2019, weren't working, and I didn't know how to navigate that. So at that point, it was all mental for me. I guess it's not the word I want to use, but it was my downfall. I started doubting myself. I doubted my strategies. I got overwhelmed. I started feeling pressured, all the while not realizing that there were other non financial factors weighing in on my subconscious. I was having moments where I just didn't want anything to do with trading. I would have mental breakdowns. I'd start crying. And all the while, um, there's a show on television about a hedge fund guy, and he's a billionaire, and we were watching this, and in the show, the hedge fund guy has this mindset coach that works with him and his team. So my wife would jokingly say, "You need one of those. You need one of those." And I kept putting it off. I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'll figure this out. I'll figure it out." And my mantra at the time, even though I kept saying I would figure it out, was, "There's something missing. I know I'm missing something," and that was my excuse to not trading well.
Did you know at
So
that time that it was an excuse, or you genuinely thought you were missing something?
I genuinely thought I was missing something. So it kind of went back and forth. I didn't trade well. Well, I'm missing something. I didn't believe in myself because I was missing something. So it just went back and forth. So fast forward 2021, 2022. Now my account dwindled to like a quarter of what I started with, and I was getting desperate. And now I really was at a low point. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know what I was going to do if I couldn't figure this out. So I decided to my wife finally said, Rob, you need a mindset coach. And to be honest, I've always been headstrong. Like, if I focused on something, I knew I could get it done. But this was a completely different animal. And I finally agreed to get a mindset coach. So I finally, when I was at that low point and decided to do it, I just happened to open up my email and there was an email from Bulls on Wall Street about you hosting a conversation or a seminar. And I'm one of those people that believes in fate. And I figured, you know what? I'm just going to contact her instead of trying to look for someone else. And here we are.
And here we are,
Everything
yeah.
changed
So,
for me.
the point to ask someone for help, it's a big milestone, because people who are attempting to trade, like yourself, are very ambitious and many times very successful in other domains, right? You have very successful business. So to ask someone for help and say, "Oh, I just cannot figure this out, just help me," is a big, big step. But it is also the first step to start making changes, right? Because the moment that you admit to yourself, okay, I am doing something against my interests, it's just not working, but I do want to move on, so I just need help, I just need to know how to do it. And it's not very different than we do in our daily lives, right? We go and take classes to learn things, whether
Exactly.
it's martial arts or tennis or any other thing that we want to learn. We want someone to show us, how do I do this, right? Because it
Hmm.
just goes quicker and you can
Yeah.
achieve greater results. So your wife was the catalyst who was telling you have to get a mindset coach, right? And
Yeah.
then you finally decided. So after we met, you pretty much decided right there during that call, or maybe you actually have decided before the call, I don't know, that you wanted to commit to the transformation, because this is what the call was about. Can you make the commitment?
Yeah.
Because I told you, if you make the commitment, we will make it work. I can get you through that hump you are trying to get over and help you with. How did it go from there? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience throughout the journey with me?
Sure. Let me start by saying first that to everyone watching, this was an emotional journey for me these last couple of months, last couple of weeks. So if I get a little emotional, I just want to apologize. But
You
so,
don't have to
like I
apologize for
said,
being emotional. It's vulnerability. That's exactly what we
yeah,
need.
yeah. And it's funny, you don't realize how much you need to let yourself be vulnerable for this. Um, but basically, what happened was, like I said, I opened up that email, I saw it was you, and I honestly knew right there at that very moment. I hadn't even spoken with you, but in the back of my mind, that gut feeling, whatever we call that intuition, I knew that was it. You were the person I wanted to work with. So I think I signed up and I made an appointment with you. And then I went on to Twitter and I started following you. and you posted, a general comment about the market, and I said, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I can't wait, or something along those lines. And your response was the next step, the next catalyst into me making making this right. Because like I said, when I saw that email, I knew the time was here for that change. So you responded with looking forward to it. In the meantime, trade right. And that message just got jammed right in my head. And from that moment on, I started being more careful, more mindful, more aware of what I was doing when I was looking at my charts. Now, from that point on, um, working with you was well, let me backtrack a bit. My wife would tell me, you need this person to help you because you do that for so many other people. For my family members, for people that I know. And she said, you now need to allow yourself to be the one to be helped when you're always helping everyone else. And we had I think it was our welcoming meeting. And then when we got into it, into the thick of it, from that first class, it just all started coming out. And I didn't realize how much emotional connections I had were kind of interfering with me needing to be present, me needing to trade correctly. And throughout the entire journey that we've been working together, you really helped me break everything down to realize where I needed to make the changes, where I needed to improve upon. And I am a completely different person from that moment, that first email to this conversation right now. And from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for what you did. You really you really changed my life.
Oh my
So
God!
thank you.
Well, it's it has been an honor working with you and seeing you not just grow but open up. I think you have opened up your heart to such an extent that you can face anything in life, and
Yeah,
definitely the market.
yeah.
You have let all the fears and attachments, and it was really beautiful to see also your willingness to listen and to look at yourself. You had the courage to actually look at yourself. And I don't know if you remember, but it was already our second session where you said something really amazing happened. I don't feel FOMO.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. Like from the first lesson, the first conversation session that we had, it literally changed everything for me. And it was just like mind blowing. After, every week, a new breakthrough, another breakthrough, to the point that whenever I would have a losing trade, which was almost all the time for the last 2 years before we started working together, I always had some sort of negative emotion or a breakdown, or one of these, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened,
Yeah.
to now, like, okay, I took a loss, not a problem. Or as soon as the market opens, it's racing, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up, and you get in, and then boom, it goes down. Like, all that is completely gone, because I can actually sit now and look at the chart when the market opens and wait, because I know what I'm waiting for. And I
Yeah,
know why
beautiful.
I'm waiting for that.
That's
So
beautiful.
it
And
is.
I,
It really is. It's so nice to acknowledge, to be a trader, and not feel like you're lying about that. Like, people say, what do you do for a living? Oh, I own a dog boarding dog walking business because I didn't believe on myself as a trader. So I would say what my business was rather than saying I am a trader because I didn't believe it. And I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I went to pick up a client's dog. And let me preface by saying this: most of my clients are hedge fund guys. They're managing directors, they own a hedge fund. So 2 weeks ago, I went to pick up one of my client's dogs, and he came out and he shook my hand. He was like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm doing great." And he was like, "How's business?" I was like, "Business is great." And I was speaking more confidently. I was speaking, you know, I didn't feel fake anymore about what I did. I mean, the conversation about whether I was a trader or not didn't come into play, but the fact that I now had the confidence in myself
Hmm.
to 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 be that trader, to to feel like it, rather than feel like an imposter.
You remember a few weeks ago when it was Jackson Hole, I think you told me, I just decided not to trade, and it was fine. I just decided not to
Yeah,
trade, which
yeah,
is fantastic if you can just choose to skip a day without having the
yes,
feeling I have to be there because I have to make money.
yes. That all that is out the window. It's all gone. When I didn't get a chance to trade in the past or sit in front of my computer, I felt like I was missing out. Like I should have been there. I should have kept studying. I should have kept looking. And now it's like the last 2 weeks, to be more specific, I think I was only sat in front of my computer 3 or 4 times. And I'm fine with that because I know that every day is another opportunity, and every day I can always go back to it. And my setups will not be there every day.
Hmm.
So I'm fine with that. Instead of having to feel like I have to make money and then lose it, which was worse.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm good, because of how you changed my perspective on.
Do you remember about the feeling of sadness that you were struggling with?
Yeah.
And how
Oh
did
my
that
God.
influence your life, and how did that change?
It's funny. I actually think about that every day because before we started working, I would wake up, get in front of my computer, and lose money, and I would start feeling I was in this bubble of sadness. Everything I saw, I looked sad. I looked at it with sad eyes. And then we started working together, and when you started to make me realize what was going on, it was just a habit. It was a habit to be sad. And I remember waking up one morning and feeling that way. And this is when we first started working. And I was like, wait a minute. Because I already had you kind of like on my shoulder every morning when I was in front of my computer. Don't do that. Do it this way. Think, be patient. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. If she can do that for me when I'm in front of my computer, she can do that for me with everything else. So I literally imagined you on my shoulder again, and you were like, you're just in the habit of being sad. And everything changed. Like the sun was brighter. I have white walls in my house so that there's a lot of sun. The walls seemed shinier and brighter, and things were really different. And even my wife noticed it. Like, you look happy. I was like, I feel happy. So it's even though I knew this, it is fascinating how much we hold in, and what we hold in creates these habits
Yeah.
that make us make decisions every day that don't work for us, but because we're in the habit of doing so, then there you go. So I mean, now that I'm thinking about it as we speak, I was in the habit of looking at everything as in my trading career as sad, lonely, negative, failure. And with you, it's like, no, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. Wait for the opportunities. keep moving forward, stay positive, and believe in that. And that stuff works. It really does. And not that I doubted that it didn't, but when the whole concept of things becoming a habit was a really big um, mind-blowing experience.
Yeah.
You don't realize you.
Yeah, because when you are in that habit of repeating things, this becomes your reality, right? And then whatever you think in your head, you're just projecting outwards. So the world you see, the people you see, and everything, how you experience things is just projection of yourself. And
Yes,
once you change that inner picture, suddenly everything else changes. But it is not so easy to point out those things that are affecting you when you are in the middle of it, right?
exactly.
It's not
Yes,
easy to step out and say, okay, so this is what's going on, right? Because
exactly.
it's connected to your emotions, and it's like this web of things, of connections. And the beauty of it is when we work together is I am able to look from outside and I look at the structure. So when you're telling me the story about your family and about your past, and what I do is I make connections, like this connected with it, this connect.
The funny thing is, and this happened today as well, and I mean, it's happened so many times in the course of our working together. I had to go see my accountant for something, and on the ride back, I honestly can't remember what my wife and I were talking about, but you come into the conversation a lot. Well, Agnieszka would say this, but it's funny because she said something, and I said, "Well, Agnieszka said this to me the other day," and she was like, "Yeah, see, she was for you," because that was the thing that I loved. One of the many things that I loved about us working together. You called me out on what I was doing, and that beginning of this conversation, um, I said, you you have to be vulnerable, and that's hard.
Yeah.
And you would make me realize the things I was doing. And as much as I wanted to deny them, deep down inside, I knew you were right. But instead of fighting you on it, I went with it. And that's where all the change came.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, because
you
it
could,
takes two. It takes two.
yes.
And
Yeah,
that's why I also don't work with everyone who just says, yeah, I just want to make money in trading, because this can only work if there is a cooperation between the two. Because
that's right.
if you want to keep stuff away from me and don't tell me, yeah, it's like me knocking on the door, but you're not opening. It's kind of waste of time
Yeah,
and energy for both of us. And during the welcome session, I always say, I can promise that I will always say the right thing, and it's not always the thing you want to hear.
exactly. You did. You said that and you did that. And I'm grateful for that because, you know, in everything that I paid for to learn how to trade, there was one of the common sayings was enjoy the journey. And I was not enjoying the journey. And then when we started working together, now I'm enjoying it. Like I said, before we went live, I took a loss today, actually. And I was happy about that. Why? Because I'm on the right path. I followed my plan that you helped me build. And one of the biggest things to everyone listening right now or is going to listen, one of the things I repeated every week to Agnieszka was I finally came to realize that I wasn't the one that was making the mistakes. I just didn't understand the market. And not knowing that it wasn't me, I mean, knowing that it wasn't me making the mistake was a really big eye opener for me because I thought it was me. I
Yeah,
thought it
and
was
then
me did it.
automatically you want to be, you have that urge to prove it's not my fault. And then you
Exactly.
try to do, okay, I need to show I'm right, and all these
Exactly.
behaviors, right?
Exactly. So, oh God, I can't remember how many times I've said that to you. It's not me. It's not me. And it felt so great. So, like today, as I said, took a small loss, but I followed my plan. And that was the important part. I didn't lose confidence in myself. I didn't fall into a pattern or habit of, oh, woe is me. It was like, hey, it didn't work.
Yeah,
I'll move on to Monday and Tuesday. And now that I understand how the market works, because because of all my bad habits, I could not look at the market with unbiased eyes. So I couldn't tell, I really didn't know what it was doing. So I
yeah,
would force a trade. And the next, I lose money. And then there goes that whole cycle. But
yeah.
now,
Domino effect.
exactly. And now I look at the market, I'm like, okay, blah, 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 blah. Here's my plan. I'm good. Win or
That's
lose,
awesome.
because now I'm enjoying the journey. So.
Were there any major breakthroughs that you would like to talk about, or was it more like a gradual process, like a breakthrough every week, or something,
It's a breakthrough
or
every week.
something like really major? So like, okay, this was just incredible.
One of the biggest breakthroughs that I had, and I did, all jokes aside, I think every week was a breakthrough. I can't think of how many times I texted you with like, oh my God. And, but, yeah, I had this breakthrough and I had this one, but one of the biggest breakthroughs was my relationship with my family. I didn't realize how that was affecting who I was and therefore coming out in everything I did, inclusive of my trading. And what I give you the example, my mom has rheumatoid arthritis, and since I was in my 20s, I've always assumed or put myself as her protector, her helper. And I'll say it out here to everyone. I don't have the best relationship with my dad. And both my mom and I don't have a good relationship with my dad. So what ended up happening was I took on the responsibility of protector, of caretaker of my mom, and thinking I had to be the one to help her. And with just that concept alone, that mentality alone, that put a lot of pressure on my trading.
Of course.
So, to give everyone the detail about it, my parents live in an apartment in New York City. Because of the bad relationship my parents have. And, on the back end of it, there's so many things one can speculate about why they're still together, but they still are. And I didn't realize that what I saw as a bad relationship actually works for them. And because of my bad relationship with my father, I assumed it was the same for my mom. Therefore, I took on the role of caretaker and provider and financial assistant to my mom. And that put pressure on my trading. That made me trade worse. That made the losses even worse, even more bad. And it was just a big compounding effect on the downside. One of the biggest breakthrough was realizing that I wasn't letting my mom be my mom. And when you made me realize that, and I'm going to say it that way, you made me realize that because again, you called me out on what I was doing. And that weekend, that's all I thought about. I wasn't letting my mom be my mom. I was letting her be my child.
Yeah,
And
role
at
switch.
that point, at that very moment, because our sessions were on Fridays at 4 o'clock. When we were done that day, I went out into my deck and sat there thinking about all that, taking it all in, be like, oh my God. Like, these bad habits I formed, this bad habit of assuming what I was going through, that my mom was doing the same thing. And then when I finally, after our conversation that Friday, that week, um, I let it go. I let all that go. And it's funny because I have a great relationship with my mom, but it's even better now. You
And
know,
something in the physical world changed them too, right? Because there
yes,
actually something happened after.
yes, exactly. And it was like she acts differently with me now. For those of you who don't speak Spanish, when you address an adult or an authoritative figure, um, unlike in English where there's informal, I mean, you could say excuse me or hey you, but there's literally a formal and informal way of addressing authoritative figures or parents. My mom used to address me with the formal word verbiage. And now she's back to the informal. And, so the hierarchy used to be me here, my mom here. Now it's back to what it used to be. And she's much happier. I'm happier. Things have changed with her and my dad, but they're better.
Like oftentimes we want other people to change, but this time actually what you did, like you changed your perspective and then the world around you kind of took its place, right? Because you
Yes.
gave her the place back, like be my mother. Suddenly she had the opportunity to actually take her position back, right?
Yes. If I could show everyone our text interactions, I think almost every day or every week it was like, oh my God. And now it's like, you really made me see things differently. And all that I was not aware of how badly it was affecting me. And it was just showing on my trading.
Yeah, and that's what the transformation. What I was like at the very beginning when I tell people like it's a transformation from trading to being a trader because you literally becoming someone else that is able to exist in the market conditions and be confident and like different person, right? But at the beginning it's kind of hard to imagine what that even means, so I really appreciate you sharing the story like with great detail because that shows those transformations
Yeah.
that happen that make you a different person. And I'm not saying better, but just free.
Yeah.
And that's
Great.
also part of the freedom that you want to have as a trader, right? And as a person, everyone wants to be free. But how much of that freedom of not having freedom is here, right?
Yeah.
Because we attach ourselves to things, to people, to expectations, to like all kinds of things. And then we put ourselves in a box and then we say, I want to be free, let me out. But this is
Yeah.
just you who can do that because you built the box.
Exactly. You know, it, I think, yeah, almost every week when we were done with our session, after I took time to reflect on what we spoke about, I always sent you a thank you text. And you would tell me, well, thank you, but you're the one doing the work. And I agree. I did do all the work. I did. I
Yes, you
allowed
did.
myself to be vulnerable. I allowed myself to, I allowed myself for you to call me out and not get defensive about it when you did. And the thank you is also to you. But for anyone who's ever going to watch this, you really have to face yourself and make that decision to make the change. Because every single relationship I have, and they're not many to be honest, but every single relationship I have is completely different now. From all my clients to even my wife is like, oh my God, she was like, if I could see Agnieszka, I'd hug her and give her a kiss because she's made you a different person. And that was one of the most heartbreaking things my wife could tell me because I didn't realize I was affecting her. And that hurt because all this while I thought I was working really hard to be a trader and I wasn't, and I'm very confident she'll agree, I wasn't mean to her, but I was just always sad. I was always depressed and gloomy and walking around like the world was going to end. And I honestly felt that way. And I didn't realize I was doing that to her. And now it's like, she's like, I can't believe how much you laugh. And this all started because I wanted to be successful at trading. And what was just one little goal has become like a life changing experience. And I can't say it enough how my trading has changed. It really has. You know, to sit in front of my computer, know what I'm doing, and be confident about it, it's a completely different world for me. And
Amazing, amazing.
you know, what's funny is another thing that I heard a lot about with trading, and I'm sure all traders out there have heard it, is trading is hard. Trading is hard. And for a long time, I thought it was literally that trading was hard. But it's not that trading is hard, it's that you make it hard. And
We are
I didn't,
standing in our own way.
yeah, exactly. And I didn't realize that it was me who was making it so difficult. Because now that I'm piecing everything together, and like I said, I've got my plan, it's not that hard. The funny thing too is it's like sitting in front of my computer and being able to just watch the stock market do what it does and be calm about it was I'm very proud of that. And that's, you know, that's where the whole FOMO went away. And
Taking the leader position, huh?
yes, the leader, the manager, and the doer, the
The
employee.
operator, yes. In our live trading sessions, when I was watching you, definitely a lot of the leaders sitting back and just watching, waiting for your entry is really beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
And
amazing.
you know, and it's funny because before those live trading sessions, this was me, like sitting close to the monitor, reading to, and now it's like I just sit there. I'm like, not yet, not yet, not yet. And that is such a wonderful feeling for myself to finally have confidence in every aspect of my life because I had it in my martial arts. And like I said, I know a moment ago I said I didn't realize how gloomy I was, and that was affecting my wife. But even through that, you know, God bless my wife who hung in there. And you know, and I don't want to paint a picture that I was always miserable, but I was very snappy and very withdrawn, thinking I was confident in what I did. And now it's like now I know what real confidence feels like, and I'm just it was life changing. Just in my martial arts, they always tell you, you know you've become good at it when you don't need to use it. It's the guys that learn martial arts and think they have to show everyone what they learned that are the least confident ones. I remember that a couple of years ago when I hit that moment. It was in one of my classes. We had a spar, and I had my gloves on and my headgear, and I was not nervous. I just wasn't, and I was surprised. And that was a big moment for me. And that moment that I had there was the moment that I had when we started working. Like when you we laugh about it, but it's the truth. When I say you were here, when you responded on that tweet, you said just trade right. That was the moment that I realized things were going to change for me, and my confidence was not what I thought it was. And then every week, you helped me break down what I needed to break down to become the confident person I can sit here and talk with you. Because to be honest, before we started working together, I'd be embarrassed to be in front of a computer talking to people. I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be here. And I really do hope that whoever's struggling with their training watches this and says, and knows that there is a lot of hope. But you have to be honest with yourself and find that person or you to work with, um, to just break that cycle.
As last, do you have anything specific that you would like to share with the audience? Something, some key takeaway?
Key takeaways: be honest with yourself about who you are. Be open to ask for help. Because at least speaking for myself, I didn't think I needed it, and I realized that I did. And I'm so grateful that my wife pushed me to make me to that realization. I read this book. It's You're a Badass at Making Money by this woman called Jen Sincero. And in the book, she talks about how she was so in debt, and but she decided to make a change in her life. So she needed the money to work with someone. And she meekishly asked a family member for the money to work with this person. The point was, if you want to make a change, you're going to do whatever it takes. And if you want to, and if you're going to post this outside of our group on YouTube, I want this person, whoever needs to hear it, work with you, Agnieszka. Every dollar is worth it. And I'll take it as far as saying this, and I'm putting myself out there. In our last session last week, when we said goodbye, I cried because I was so grateful for the change you helped me make that it's invaluable. You to me are you are my guru, you are my mentor, you are my coach, but above all that, you to me are my friend.
Thank you so
And
much. And same here.
thank so whoever's listening to this, key takeaway, be honest with yourself, do whatever it takes to get the help you think you need or want, and just go and do it. So
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and all these emotions. And I get I mean, from all your words every week, all the thank yous and all those kind of words really melt my heart, truly, because I think, yes, we did build a very special relation throughout all these weeks because you have opened up. So you will always be in my universe. As I always say, once you're in my universe,
likewise.
you're not gonna leave.
Yeah,
And you can
you
always,
can't get rid
reach
of me
out.
now.
Yeah, I have that. It seems to have that effect on people. I sit on their shoulders.
Yeah, you're right there, right there. Sometimes even on this side. So, but
It has
thank you.
been truly a beautiful experience and a huge pleasure to be able to coach you and guide you through the transformation. I got so much energy out of that, out of seeing you grow and making steps forward every week. And I am looking forward to our next 3 months because for those of you
Yep.
guys who are not familiar with the Confident Trader program, after you finish it, there is 90 days of accountability track. This is to make sure that all the new patterns, new behaviors just get settled. So I'm not dropping you there in a big world. You're still in contact with me and we evaluate your traits together and you get my support.
And that's the other thing actually I wanted to say too is working with you, you made it very easy. You are you don't make, at least for me, and I'm sure everyone else that you work with, you don't make us feel embarrassed by our admittance to whatever we need to work on. You're easy to work with, you're kind, you're good at holding someone accountable, you're great at giving the information, you're patient, you're understanding, you're helpful, and above all that, your positive attitude every time we talked was a really big helpful factor in all this. So, I wouldn't, if I could pay for people to work with you, I'd do it. You know what I mean?
Be careful what you wish for. You might get some candidates.
You know what? Down the line, I will do that because I think it's important, and you are really good at what you do. You are great at what you do. So
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm
Thank you.
forever grateful to you for working with me and
Thank you. Thank you
thank
again. And Rob, thank you so much for being here and happy birthday. Your whole life is in front of you. Your whole new life is in front of
yeah,
you.
it is right at 50.
Fantastic. Guys, if you are interested to know more about the program that Rob just finished, The Confident Trader, I'm starting a new group end of September. And if you go to freedomfromfailing.life, you can learn more about the program and also schedule your Mindset Mastery call, a free call with me, where we can talk about your progress, your goals, and how we can get you there. So freedomfromfailing.life.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Awesome.
wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.